All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2015 WCS Europe qualifiers. It's the third qualifier amongst what is, I think, 6 or 7. We got all next week to go through as well. I do want to stress this before we get into the game. Right now, Twitch chat is being calm, it's being cool. We don't have sub mode on as I say this, but of course, it's delay on stream. Player bashing is not going to be tolerated in this. Love or hate Naniwa. I know he's a guy of controversy for many. Many really love him, many really hate him. I don't care. Keep the comments clean as we enjoy this match, because it should be a good one. Spawning in the top right corner of the map, though, it's going to be the teamless Terran, the red, and pardon me, happy.
Just after saying teamless.
I know.
In the bottom left, as the blue Protoss, it's Naniwa.
Is that sort of's face, I guess, or what is
Isn't it? I don't think it is.
Well, his clan is Swarm H, so it's going to be a Zerg player.
And he's... it's true. I don't know.
He's on his little tank. Like, I mean, I guess Naniwa hasn't really played since he's on the Alliance. There's been some free name changes, though, so maybe just didn't know or hasn't taken advantage of it.
Take a page out of Ethermal's book.
Yeah, maybe just... so here's what's kind of interesting about Naniwa coming into this. Like, okay, there's the whole... Naniwa's been gone for a while, can he even compete with players? But he knocked out everybody in the qualifier to get to this point, so I think the answer there is yes, he can certainly compete. But what I find really interesting about this aspect is it's been pretty much publicly stated that he doesn't really care, per se, about winning. Obviously, he wants to win, he's competitive, there's the passion and all that, but he's not really here to make this like a do-or-die thing. He's not going to cry in his bed afterwards if he loses. And I kind of think that almost empowers him a little bit more, because it's when players don't take the game too seriously, I feel like they play the best. I think Stefano was like the perfect example of that.
Yeah. He was a special person, you know? So, I don't know if Naniwa could quite get there, too. But it is true, he has a little bit less pressure on himself, and that is always nice. I actually got to catch a little bit of his game versus Mana, who's casted on TV stream. He looked strong. It wasn't just, you know, build order wins or anything like that. There was some seriously good micro, good reactions, good holds. He looked pretty strong. You know, I don't know about like old Naniwa or anything like that, but definitely in shape. And actually, just based off of that, maybe I shouldn't be basing it off of that because it was a PvP and PvT. I do give this to Naniwa.
Well, I don't disagree with the fact that he's good, but on the other hand, I've seen too many happy PvTs to think otherwise for happy, so my basis goes towards happy. King of Ghost Viking, the I don't know, the terror god of Europe for so long at this point too. There's a lot of things that make me think just like through... and the thing about Happy is he relies on standard play. He doesn't... kind of like Polton that way, right? Like he's just good because he's good. He's not good because he cheeses or his special tactics.
That's true. I liked what Naniwa did here. I think this pylon was, you know, in a best case, it's not scouted, and as such you get the Terran to be a little bit paranoid. Like, where's the second pylon? Where is it? Oh my god, he's proxying! And it's just down here. And it's also going to be useful for later. We need to warp in on the natural.
Yeah. I don't know. Naniwa through his playstyle, I know he's done a lot of different things over time, but I can't imagine he comes into these qualifiers and opens with like a proxy Stargate.
It would seem like more like, because he doesn't like never cheese, right? But it is something like, you know, I can come in here and I can macro it and I can still win, you know, despite not being playing for so long. Like, I don't know, like a ego thing, kind of? Like confidence.
Maybe not ego, more like emotion, right? You're like, oh, I'm so pissed off, I don't want to play, let's just do a counter rush or something, you know?
Oh, if he did it, yeah, right.
Forget
but, you
about
know,
it.
To not do it is like, you know, the confidence is there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Reaper hops in and out of the base. It almost killed a zealot, which was kind of cool, so softened up really nicely. Man, I forget the number. I really wish I had written this down. For giggle's sake, after one of our casts this week, I was like, I wonder just how many shots it takes for like a 1-1 Marauder to kill like a level 3 armored zealot. And it was like 30, between 20 and 30 or something. Really stupid.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't realize just how hard it was to kill a zealot.
Dang. Well, you just talked about Naniwa not doing something, I guess, cheesy, and all-in and cheese is a little bit different, but is he going to do a Blink Stalker all-in? It's 4 gateways. It's not quite all-in status yet.
He is chronoing it pretty hard, though.
Yeah. It might just be a very dedicated pressure.
Oh.
Like the midway point, right, between an all-in and just macroing. Because he is giving up a lot to do this, even still, especially if he does commit to the Stalkers. But, you know, usually it's 2 gateways and light pressure and then into a robo. With 3, I definitely expect him to do like 1 or 2 rounds, at least.
So we've been corrected by chat. That was Forsen on the thing. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry, I don't stare at Forsen's face all day.
I have to say, sort of, I don't remember looked like that, but I also didn't look at his face that often, I guess.
I know. I'm too busy looking at his, like, you know, zealots and stuff, not or zerglings or whatever. You know, like, I'm not busy looking at the players' faces when we're playing. So my bad.
That's what we should do. Just have the faces on the left and be like, mm-hmm.
It'd be like ghetto player cameras. Like, oh, your camera's got 1 FPS is the problem, guys. They're moving, I promise.
Oh, looks like Happy saw something to tell him this is going on. What was it? It seems to be the amount of stalkers, I think, is what he just barely saw, because he didn't see anything else.
Yeah, he saw about 3 leave the base with that scan on the tail end of it, so he might have a pretty good idea. So the second bunker coming down could just be for safety, but it's the one in the main. Yeah, okay, so he knows what's going on.
Nice. Naniwa was going to throw down a robo, but I wonder if that was a fake robo because of the scan. I thought he canceled it because of the scan, because he didn't want to show that he was macroing out of it, and now I'm kind of confusing myself with the mind games. But he decides not to go for it, so maybe more dedicated to this pressure. Problem is, there are a lot of bunkers.
Well, 10 stalkers gonna catch just before the bunker finishes at the main, but with the time mark going down, the time just recalls immediately.
Yeah, you don't usually see a recall. You know, they usually do take the 2-3 stalker kills and try and get out, but that's their option.
I think it's the fact that he had blinked up first. Like, if he had seen that with the mothership core before blinking into that, he perhaps wouldn't have had the pressure for it. What really scares me, though, is that that was 2 energy skills from the mothership core, so it's dry. No photon overcharge available. If Happy was ready to counterattack, he's not because he's playing so defensive, but if he was ready to counterattack right now, there'd be no photon overcharge. So as the medevacs start coming out, we'll see if Happy can capitalize on this timing, or if he'll play a little bit too scared and a little bit too paranoid.
I think this, it still is going to be a big deal. First medevac's out. Too bad the other one wasn't started. Does he have a reactor? He does, so I guess there was a lack of gas somewhere in there or something. Had he had those 2 medevacs immediately...
I think it was supply, by the way.
Oh. Either way. He could have immediately gone on to the counterattack, and that could have been worrisome without that photon overcharge. Blink Stalkers can be microed rather well, but even then, you know, Stim, Bio with medevacs, they usually went out, unless you're partying.
Yeah, that got me a little off guard, but yeah, partying is kind of a god, so...
Kind of he really showed what Blink Stalkers can really do.
If you can kill someone like Flash, yeah, you're pretty much right up there. But Naniwa's saying it's not like he doesn't have anything behind this. He just doesn't have the crutch of double photon overcharges. In fact, he might not even have 1, but even that being said, with good control and a couple of force fields, it's going to be difficult for Happy to get game-ending damage off of this. As long as Naniwa can buy enough time for that Colossus to get out comfortably. But first medevac can find its way to the main. Oh, double upgrades too is a little bit greedy too. Didn't even realize he was doing 2 at the time. For
sure, I think he was planning on being able to pressure a little bit more and scare Happy. But he has a lot of gateway units, so it's really not this point that I'm scared for Naniwa. Even without the photon overcharge, it's later, you know, because the Colossus were delayed, and of course by that the High Templars are delayed with so many upgrades as well. That I think Happy is a very, you know, the mid game's gonna look good. He's gonna be able to control it a little bit more, but that late game might look a lot better. Colossus comes out really odd with a robo. Okay.
Yeah, he sees this too. For Happy, this can't be too comfortable. I mean, he knows the timing for the Colossus having extended thermal lines isn't here, but it's not worth diving through the Stalkers and losing your whole army for 1 Colossus. So, trying to get away, this medevac sadly looks like it is going to die. Picks up a Stalker too for it.
You know, I said the late game might look good, but it didn't, you know, totally forgot about those upgrades or the fact that Happy hadn't thrown on his own second engineer bay yet, so he's going to actually fall behind in that in a very big way.
Just barely misses the pylon over here. That kind of sucks. Not that this is coming to effect yet, but you know, zealots later on are gonna be a real pain to deal with.
Yeah. If he could set himself up for like a SCV pool, which I don't think he will, just that might have been good. But the game will go on. Naniwa opened up with a bit of aggression that honestly didn't do a whole lot, but it seems that he's macroed out of it rather well. He's relying mostly on gateway units, but with good upgrades.
So the thing we know about Naniwa, that even though he did leave the scene for a small amount of time, I don't think he ever stopped watching. Like, we'd always see him tweeting or commenting on tournaments, this, that, the other. So what I was a little bit worried about coming to this was, like, was he going to be up with the metagame? Like, does he really know where it's at? But it definitely seems like he's got a handle of things. You know, it's not like he blindly went for Zealot Templars, which was kind of the bread and butter at the time when he left. What minds have changed quite a bit since then, but going for this Colossus build, going for the late game, going for the macro, I mean, it just, he knows exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, he's looking really strong, and he's going to be able to get to High Templars without too much pressure from Happy, as well as that third base. Now, Happy is looking to go ahead, drop in the main, and attack at the third. Very classic, very useful, very powerful. strategy right there. Something usually dies, and with Naniwa being, he has nothing in the main right now. Something should die in the main, sure.
Yeah, I mean, triple drops a hell of a lot of units to come down. I don't know if he'll focus the Nexus or what his plans are. Get the Forge might have too bad. Kills a couple of probes, but this opens the gateway to that third. The second he realizes the Colossus is here, he's going to focus the Nexus. He'll snipe that Nexus.
Take
but
the
he can't.
Stalkers.
Yeah, he can't get away until the Stalkers are dead. So focus fighting these as much as he can. Looks like third base was thwarted, but the Colossus falls as the Vikings just kind of go uncontested. But that's so many Zealots with charge.
Right, and the upgrades are still going strong, not able to take those down. Did survive with the Medivacs. Like I said, just take those Stalkers down with you. Your bio is that good.
It seems like such a consolation prize, but I mean, typically, as we see, 4 Vikings at a time is the queue. You don't get to build more Medivacs most of the time, so keeping these alive is actually a pretty darn big deal.
Yeah, I think he took an amazing engagement. The Nexus and a ton of Blink Stalkers. Yeah, go, sure. Definitely good. Not able to get to third is not a big a problem now. It would have been absolutely fantastic had he gotten both. Nani would have really had to mess up to allow that to happen. But he's still okay. He did get up to High Templars, but not Storm. So it's going to be Archons and feedbacks for now.
Archons might not be too bad, to be honest, as long as he doesn't have a lot of Colossus, because the Vikings are just going to mow through the single one he has. But you're right, Storms would be his best friend, but it's too far off and too far gone from happening. He does have an upgrade lead 2-2 over 1-1, so Zealot's going to be able to take a shot or two, especially with Guardian Shield covering him, but for the most part, Happy is he's looking for a good way to engage without having to get caught.
Yeah. I really like how he's playing this out. Those upgrades could be a big deal, but Naniwa has stopped, so it is only 1 down.
Ooh. But this drop from Happy segments a lot of his army supply off to the left. Naniwa, okay, never mind. As you say, if he pushes, he might find Happy with a very insufficient supply to defend with.
I don't think he wants to until he has Storm, and he's not. I guess he doesn't feel comfortable enough to get Storm. He has enough gas and minerals. Did he forget? That might be bad if he's forgotten. You don't want to be banking on Storm ready to go and suddenly be able to not press the T button.
Well, Happy is diving in to look what he can get done. We're getting towards that late game that Happy's so comfortable with. You'll notice he's starting vehicle weapon upgrades. This is because, again, Happy is the master when it comes to Ghost Viking. Cloak Ghosts are a real pain in the ass for any Protoss player to deal with, especially if you get sniped off your observers with those Vikings. But focus the Mothership Core. Gonna go for that Nexus once again. He should be able to get this. And there's not a lot of Stalkers here, so this time he can probably pick up and get out. But he doesn't finish the Nexus. It flies on top of Archons! Oh! Chase down the middle of the map. I can understand why his attention was perhaps elsewhere.
Yeah, he needed to find a good position to take on the main army, as it was. I mean, he has good high-tech units. He has a couple of Ghosts. He has a lot of Vikings, but, without a Concave, the Zealots would wrap around and suddenly you'd be in big trouble. He also wants to be able to buy time until his own 2-2. It's a little over halfway done. Naniwa's pushing or pulling back, so he'll be able to get up there, which will put him on even footing. Naniwa does go back on the upgrades, though. Is he just going to not get Storm? Is that the...
Maybe. I mean, 3-3 could be quite deadly if Happy gets caught with this, but the timing's over there, and even if Chrono Boost pile into this, it's not going to be enough. We do have EMPs out for Happy, though, something he's not really had for any engagement up to this point. And I think one of the... I mean, whether it's on top of the Zealots is kind of whatever. The Vikings don't really need to worry about the Colossus. It's these Archons that those really need to land on.
Still have the drop set up from Happy here. I think one of the biggest things that... Oh, okay. I was going to talk about these Blink Stalkers. We had Blink Stalkers in the beginning. That's what he opened with, yet drops have been able to get into his main. Yes, you want to have your Stalkers with your main army. You got to protect the Colossus, but it's just like... It's not what you would expect from someone to open with Blink. And finally does, lend a few over to the main, so he should be covered there. But I also want to talk about how he never got any pressure besides that initial Blink Stalker pressure. No proxy pylons on the map, no Dark Shrine, not a single Zealot run by to take down just an SCV.
Yeah. The longer this goes without Storm, the more worried I do get for Naniwa. I mean, Happy, again, guys, I can't stress this enough. Like, this is his comfort zone. If Happy doesn't have to Storm dodge and he's got Ghosts, Happy's going to have a really good time. Especially with the Colossus count being low what it is, it's not going to be difficult for Happy to scan and snipe off that observer. Cloak Ghosts are just going to sit there all day, untouched.
I don't really mind the lack of Storms up until the late game, and it is getting to the late game, right? Like, everyone's upgrades are finishing up, we got a bunch of command centers on the field for Happy. Can you really play a late game PvT without Storm?
Well, we'll see. I mean, as you said, he was looking pretty good in his other matches. Picks off some of the Vikings. Nice little zoning mechanism going here. So many charge slots though. With 37 zealots charging forward, EMPs go down on every single one of them, but there's no widow mines to counter these. However, well, regardless of micro, the EMPs do go on top of the Archons, and they don't get much damage done.
Well, I said he has to micro. He just let his units be surrounded by the zealots. So yes, the EMPs went down, but it was classic like, well, I got the good units, I got the Archons, I got the Colossus, I'm ready to go, and then the zealots tear up your army.
I really don't think he was expecting that many though. 37 is kind of insane.
So.
I mean, even when it was charged that Archon Templar, like we never really saw 37 zealots be like the big composition of the army. So maybe he just thought through practice and instinct that he could have taken that fight. But snipes off the Nexus, going to bring Naniwa back home. Naniwa is double producing Colossus. This is a wonderful choice because he has cleared out the Vikings at this point. And Happy's investing in more medevacs, more ghosts, more marauders. Not a single Viking to be found.
Yeah. That is great, and this is great for Happy too. Getting that Nexus and being able to pull the army back because he needs time to remax. He really doesn't have a ton of production. Without any High Templars, just bare High Templars in the field. He is starting to research Throne, by the way. But oh, there they are. Come on, feedbacks.
Yeah, feedbacks, stalkers, these medevacs are in pretty big danger. He's baiting out with like one of the really crappy medevacs. There's like nothing inside of it, but what it is, I mean, there's like a marine inside of it. This is not exactly a dangerous medevac coming to the left side.
A full health one though. Come on.
I guess, but
he's the one that's almost dead.
So it's more tempting to feedback a full health medevac than an almost dead medevac. See, nailed it.
Oh yeah, proved me wrong.
Sure.
Well, this
sure did.
This is funny and all, but this is so important. Happy needed time to get production up. You know, his barracks count really isn't up all that high. 8's okay, but not
that was
late game PPT.
That was a really important EMP that landed on the Templars there warping in because now the medevacs might actually live to see another day. He's trading up for a little bit, but the Stalker's starting to come over. The Archon's on top of this. He's going to try and get the medevacs out alive. He's trading out some good damage for this, but his army supply still hasn't exactly maxed out while this goes on.
Oh, it hasn't.
But
he built those command centers, but he never really got to, use them that much.
Yeah, but I think one of the key things, he saw those 2 Colossus. He now knows production's there. We see 5 Vikings at a time. Happy's not going to get caught off guard by this tech swap.
No, he isn't. Just, everyone's pretty much, like, normalized, right? We got the extra command centers. We have Naniwa getting back to his 4th base. And it is going to be that big army versus big army. Currently, Naniwa's is a lot bigger, though. Up by about 30 army supply.
Yeah.
He attacks now. Be big dangerous.
This planetary might seem silly, but with the amount of zealots that have been in play, I think this will actually help quite a bit.
Ghost and EMPs are fantastic in Charlottes, and I think that's why, as you were saying, like, Happy through practice thought, oh, so many EMPs, like, I'll just murder these zealots, but widow mines, they're hard to control because you already have so many things on taking priority as a Terran player. Ghosts, the medevacs by a stim, and the Vikings, of course, but the widow mines could be so important. Just 1 or 2 good shots is like an EMP.
But that's not Happy's style, man. Ghost Vikings is what we know him best for. And as he comes for this last engagement, there is storms available this time. He can't just waste all the EMPs on the Zealots and the Archons like he did before. He actually has to move forward and snipe. Nice snipes on that first Templar. A couple EMPs going down as well.
Oh, retreat!
Yeah. Fall back, fall back! I'll get another snipe. Oh, yeah, there we go. Finishes it off. The nice things about Ghosts, with 200 health, they can actually take a hit. Like, the Blink Stalkers blinking forward like that is actually more dangerous, I think, for Naniwa than for Happy.
The upgrades did, equalize a long time ago, by the way. We are having Happy go up to +2 vehicle. You can invest in the +3 weapons, that is, armor.
Okay, well, the Viking count is getting kind of out of control. I almost wonder if it's too high. Because as he will take out the Colossus, will he have enough to deal with the ground?
It might be perfect for 4 Colossus, but any more, yeah, he goes up to 20. Yeah, that's too much. I
mean, you could land the Viking, sure, but against 3/3 Zealots, the Vikings aren't going to do much. The nice thing, though, is Happy did invest in weapon upgrades. You don't see this often out of Terran players, but with the weapon upgrades on the Vikings, they'll take down the Colossus a little bit faster. On the ground, they can shoot a little bit harder. But that's a lot of what-ifs we're talking about. Now, there's Zealot run by this actually can outrange the Planetary Fortress. Awkward.
We'll see you later.
Happy finds a nice spot, gets a couple of volleys here on the left side.
Vikings. It's weird. The Vikings were all apart from each other.
Yeah, maybe it's because he planned to give a bunch away that he built the extras for compensation. I don't know, but the Colossus should be taken down. There's not enough Stalkers here to really out-damage that. But this is the stutter step we're missing for that last engagement, but he picks up, says this is too much, and goes to the main. We got a Planetary Fortress that looks like the natural base was killed pretty hard while this goes on.
That was not even really a proxy pylon. Those zealots had to make a trek, but it was worth it. And it takes on the army fight with so many zealots left over.
Oh my god, this Naniwa's zealot count has been insane, and this is all so counterintuitive to where we're at with the game. Like, nerf widow mines are so overpowered, they broke PvT, but without using them, and Happy is really not a player to use them, Naniwa's really taking advantage of this. Never do you ever see zealots be this plentiful or this good.
Just, you know, what is there besides widow mines? Maybe he went to marauder heavy, actually? Like, Marines do the big DPS, or maybe it's always finding, you know, slightly worse positions for his army to retreat to. I don't know,
well,
but it looks like
Ghost hold.
Barely gonna hold on. There is one observer. You can definitely scan that.
He reinforces with another wave of zealots. That might not be the choice. You know, zealots were really scary when there's like 30 plus of them. Now that the ghost can sit here, cloaked, and shoots. I mean, let's not forget, Ghost has that bonus damage, guys. 26, that shot versus the zealots is a lot of damage. The Marauders can also take those hits, and there's personal medevacs at this point. Every unit basically has a medevac because the army supplies in that weird spot, that weird number.
Going up to 16 medevacs? Ooh, that's a lot of
it'll help with storms, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. It's just the zealots are just, they're being so surprisingly effective. We get back to kind of a point that's equal again. You know, Naniwa was up by 20 supply, loses it with the last few zealot warp ins.
But you know, Happy also lost all his Vikings, so with 3 Colossus in play, it's not going to be the easiest thing to deal with this, especially with double Colossus production.
I was like, why more medevacs? Because at this point, you got to expect. There's no point where you're just going to find each other without that tech, you know? You're really taking a lot for Naniwa not to go back into Colossus.
I really feel, too, like that's the case for Terran more than Protoss. When it is these tech swaps in the late game, it's Terran who gets caught with their pants down, like, oh, I needed Vikings instead of Ghosts. I brought a knife to a gunfight. I don't know if that'll be the case for Happy. He does start Viking production again, but this, as this tank goes back and forth over what is possibly 10 more minutes, 20 more minutes, he's got to be so careful he doesn't get caught off guard by this.
I do love that this hasn't gone into that snooze fest, you know? Like, PvT rarely is, but sometimes when it gets to the late game, neither one wants to attack into each other. So we have the Terran player with 5 planetary fortresses and, you know, 10 orbitals. Not really able to happen. He was trying to. He started to add a lot, but then he kept getting attacked by Naniwa.
Well, one of the big things here is, I mean, Happy's got this extra base. He's mined out most of what he has for these first 2. I mean, I'm not surprised he's not trying to replenish his natural while this goes on. But, yeah, as he secures his other bases, it kind of sucks that he lost the gold, but he's continuing to mine, so his income doesn't falter for this. Rarely, if ever, do you see a Terran vs Protoss game that A, doesn't end in a death ball, but B, has this, I don't know, low of a bank. They've both been producing so efficiently this game, and they've both been trading out. We look at the resources lost pretty evenly. A little bit better for Naniwa, but yeah. No one's really in a situation where there's a 7k bank behind a maxed out army.
Exactly. And that is kind of funny. Like, Naniwa's on 4 bases, but he's doing a little better in resources lost, whereas Happy at least, you know, has 1 more base. But I guess they're going to be a little more peaceful for now. Kind of expected Happy not to be the one to push out. Posturing and scaring your opponent for either side is always good, but, you know, waiting until he has that absolutely perfect bank, really. You know, people get a little too gung-ho sometimes, even professional players, about attacking into it. When they try and remax, they realize, oh, I never got a bank behind it. And that's always seems to be a problem. But he's starting to get a really good one.
I'm loving seeing Cloak Ghost all over the place. Sadly, they're not getting a lot done at the moment. And the longest they stay cloaked, the less snipes they're able to fire off. But that Archon army is massed up really big once again. And this is going to prioritize a lot of that energy for EMPs. And if he's got to burn EMPs, that cloak's not going to last long. The EMPs look okay for now.
Oh, the ghosts can't die. There's still storms.
Oh, he prioritizes them on top of the Colossus, not the Archons. He is going to try and stim away, but oh, that went so badly for Happy. Oh, that was just devastation.
Well, in these situations, you usually don't want to be the aggressor. Like, neither player does it really favor. You're going to come into a concave, and they're going to be prepared.
I think that might have been the end for Happy. That, like, you're Terran. Do you even have the production to keep up with the loss?
He never got above 8 barracks. You know, he never really could. The bank was never all that high. There was constantly action back and forth.
The planetary goes down so fast. The Archons regenerating those shields quite nicely while this goes on. He's going to pick up in the medevacs, and maybe it's to get a base trade? Or where are these going?
A very slight base trade.
I thought he was going to go for a full pickup. And I mean, he just doesn't have that much to pick up, I guess, when you look at it. Naniwa's in a fantastic spot to win this game. I mean, it really would take, I'd say, anything close to a throw at this point. Happy's army supply is not horrible, but so much of it is tied up in medevacs. He's on 15 medevacs.
I just, considering how, you know, either poorly or just barely not poorly Happy has had engagements, I don't expect him to have that one beautiful engagement get him back into this game.
He goes for the snipe of the gold. Cost him a lot of his army, though.
Yes, it did. Like half of it.
Right, moving his orbital over. He's gonna try and take his own gold? Maybe not. Psych, stalker. You thought I took a gold? Just kidding. Wait, why land over here though?
So it won't be attacked by the army? Like, psych, I'll just take my SCVs away?
Long distance mining is actually going to the planetary, which is apparently closer. Thanks SCV AI. You're doing a real favor to Happy right now. Happy is still in a lot of trouble though. I mean, his actual supply in general is in the gutter. He can't really pull the boys into this for a defensive fight. His ghost count is nice, but ghosts aren't going to automate. They got destroyed last time.
Yeah, his composition really has not been working out, I think. Even like massive EMPs, they miss out on the storms, or the zealots overrun him. I don't like. If there's a situation where it's like, man, if only I gotten those storm or the EMPs, then all right, maybe he gets that really perfect engagement. He hasn't though. I have not seen that. Like, oh, so close. It's just been mostly murdering from Naniwa.
Yeah, what's really scary too is Naniwa's always had these like 1 or 2 tempo on the front lines, looking for feedbacks, looking for storms, whatever you can get. But every time these get picked off, and that's because Happy's had vision and knowledge of this. That's not really been the case. Ever since he really lost that gold-based control, he's been confined to, well, his immediate vision. He doesn't have a lot of... He's got no sensor towers. He's got no way to scout for this. He's scanning a couple times here and there. But, I mean, okay, there we go. He'll find 1 Templar.
With how...
Observer, nice.
Yeah. With how well that mid-game was looking, you know, just going into the late game, I was like, okay, awesome for Happy. The drops are good. The command center's coming down. But Naniwa, with the composition, with the resilience... Yeah, it's gonna win this game. I guess we don't know what the second map is, do we?
We do, but I forget.
Yeah, I know. We know, but
we know, but we don't know. Yeah.
It might be a little too soon to start calling the game, but I just feel really that Happy can't get that perfect engagement.
No, he's going to 1 base economy, and he's still not maxed out, despite all this time Naniwa's given him, all this breathing room. EMPs are pretty darn good. That was good. I almost went with those overkill. It was like 5 EMPs in 1 spot, but. Hey, if you gotta take a fight, you gotta take a fight. Looking for those storms. Does get an EMP and a snipe. Bit of a overkill on energy with these ghosts. Now they can't cloak, which really does suck. Because ghosts on their own are not scrappers, they're not fighters, they can't stim, they can't run away. The Vikings will try and take out the Colossus, but if there's nothing left on the ground underneath this, because there's no stutter step, Zealots are just clear-cutting everything. Razor Blades of Death! We got a small flank on the right side, but it's not going to be enough. The Medivacs boost away, this base is going to fall. The SCVs are getting slaughtered at the Golden Naniwa. Well, actually has no detection. He's running away from the ghost.
Oh.
There's an observer.
There's an observer.
If he sees it, he can EMP it though. Pro skills. No scoping going on. All right. This was a really important base for Happy. It's his only source of income right now. He's mined out everywhere. He's transferred command centers over. As this falls, this is pretty much the nail in the coffin for game 1.
This is kind of the situation where I'd ask another pro Terran, right? Like, what did Happy do wrong when it came to the late game?
I think it's just that engagement. He never really recovered from that really horrible engagement.
That one, yeah, but he seemed to lose control. Okay, for as much as he was in control after like the base snipe, he seemed to lose it really quickly. Even before that fight. Thank you so much for your wonderful comedic timing.
All right, Naniwa takes game number 1 in this qualifier.